Okay, good evening. My name is Carmen Gonzales,
My name is Garie Gonzales.
And I'm Cecily, Lancero.
and we are going to present our informative essay, and we are going to discuss Filipino culture. So let's get started. It's messing up. Can we start again, please? Sorry. Take two
Yeah.
from this one. Kept messing up. Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Carmen Gonzales.
And my name is Garie Gonzales.
And my name is Cecily Lancero.
We are going to present our informative essay, and we chose to share with you about the Filipino culture. So let's get started. We all come from different backgrounds, and how we view the world, our food, our ideas, our families, our history, and our values all reflect in our culture. And this varies widely in each and every culture. What do you know about the Filipino culture? Well, we would like to share with you about the Filipino culture, from the hardships of immigration to reach the American dream, to strong family values and deeply rooted religion that is celebrated in many ways. Researching this country has been a big eye-opener to how different our beliefs and our values can be from one another, yet we are all more connected than we think. Though our cultures may be different, we all experience many of these experiences in similar ways. It is culture that unites us all.
Okay, so the first thing we'd like to talk about is something that's very near and dear to everyone's hearts, and that is family. So when you think of family, or personally, when I think of family, I think of my immediate family, which consists of my kids and my husband. When it comes to the Filipino culture, family is the foundation of everything to them. So here in the US, family is kind of a tricky subject. So most of the time you are very close to your family at a young age, and then you get older, you move out, you have your own family, and things kind of drift apart a little bit. You don't have that same bond that you did when you were younger. And when it comes to the Filipino culture, they believe that families are to remain united. They also believe that everyone has a specific role and a specific responsibility in order to provide and feed for their families. So whether it be the men have certain jobs and the women have different jobs, they all come together to be in harmony together and have everything they need as a whole. And when it comes to a household in the Philippines, it can house up to 3 generations in one household. So you would think that's about at least 10 people living under one roof. When you think about that now in modern times, it's kind of like to have 3 or 4 people living in your house, it's crowded. And they also believe that elders should not be put in nursing homes or assisted living. And in the US, that's kind of normalized to where, your parents get old or your grandparents get old and they have disabilities, or they have, certain illnesses that requires a lot of care, sometimes around the clock care. And, working families, you can't be home to take care of them all of the time. So we, put them in a nursing home or assisted living. And in the Philippines, they believe that their children are to take care of them. So when they get old and they need care, they believe that their children are to take them into their homes and care for them until potentially they pass away. So 18 in the US is kind of like the golden age. So when you turn 18, like my kids tell me now, they want to, move out on their own and be independent, not have to follow my rules and, you know, be free. When it comes to the Filipino culture, a member of the family, when they turn 18, they are not expected to move out of their parents' home. They want to remain united as much as they can. Something also that's very normalized here in the US is divorce. You know, whether you get married at a young age or marriage just wasn't working for you, you go straight to the courthouse and get a divorce. In the Philippines, divorce is actually frowned upon, and not only that, it's illegal. So that also goes for having children before marriage. In the Philippines, that's a huge no-no. They do not believe in that, and they feel like that is very bad. When it comes to lunches or even a dinner, it can be up to 50 family members, and that does include just the immediate family. So that could be your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your second cousins, and that is a lot of people just for a dinner. Grandparents also in the Philippines play a huge role in raising their grandchildren, passing down their wisdom, teaching them, you know, the rules and how they live. And families in the Philippines struggle greatly in many ways to provide for their families. So therefore, they will look for other opportunities, even if it means leaving their own country and their families behind.
Now we'll be talking about immigration from the Philippines to the U.S. Immigration from the Philippines has quadrupled since the 1980s to current time, 2020, 2021, to primarily in the states like California and Hawaii. Just 40 years ago, there was about 500,000 Philippines throughout the U.S. And now in 2021, there is about 2 million people in the U.S. As you can see from the chart, from 1980 to 2000, which is only 20 years, the immigration from the Philippines has more than doubled to 1.3 million people from the Philippines. And now in 2018, it's over 2 million. In the Washington Post article written by Carlos Lozada, for immigrants, family separation happens long before the border. Parents leave the country for years at a time so they can send back wages, many multiples of what they previously earned. So basically, in the Philippines, you either stay in the Philippines with your family and you live in poverty. Sometimes you have no house, you have no water, you have no food, you have no car, you have no transportation, you have no job. You really make no money. So the only way to really make money is to leave the Philippines and come to the U.S. for a better life, to not only provide for yourself, but to provide for your wife, your kids, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents. You have to provide for all of them because it's a custom in the Philippines. A father in the Philippines stated that ever since his orphan childhood, all he wanted was a family, but to support one, he had to leave it. So basically, in the Philippines, he was making $50 a month. $50 a month. He would make more than that in an hour, 2 hours. He's making $50 a month cleaning pools to support for his family, when he could come to the U.S. and make $500 a month cleaning pools. And it's still not a lot, but $50 to $500 is a huge margin when you're trying to take care of your kids. So to take care of his loved ones and the ones he loved the most, he had to come to the U.S. just to make that money, but send it back, but not even spend that money with your kids. Nearly 72% of Filipino immigrants are between the ages of 17 to 64. It's primarily these ages because those are the working years where you're able to work and provide for your family. When you're under 17, you can't really work, and it's kind of harder to work. And when you're over 64, you want to retire, you're going to be resting for the rest of your life, I guess you could say. So for those years, when they come to the U.S., they miss holidays, they miss birthdays, they miss reunions, they miss even funerals. I mean, like, imagine not being able to go to your mother's, your grandma's, your sister's, your dad's funeral. Like, you're stuck in the U.S. trying to take care of your family, but you can't even be there with them. So it kind of sucks that in the U.S., you always have your family there. It's kind of easier to find a job. It's more accustomed to have a roof over your head, have food paid for, bills paid for when you're growing up. But when you grow up, you could just, all you have to do is go to high school, college, you find a job pretty easily. But in the Philippines, it's not like that at all. You either have to grow up in poverty, as I said, or come to the U.S. for a better life. Most Filipinos have no choice but to migrate, like I said, to support for a large portion of their families. Though there are plenty of struggles that the Filipinos face, they still find many ways to celebrate, even if it's through their faith.
And Filipinos have a very high sense of faith that is very deeply rooted. Their religion can be traced back as far as 3 centuries. And that is when the Spaniards occupied the Philippines. And with that being said, the religious tones can be seen through everyday life. They're almost as inescapable, really. The Filipino people can really find value in celebration through their faith. And with one of those traditions that they celebrate with, it's called Flores de Mayo, where the people give flowers daily to Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. And this really illustrates their distinctive devotion to their faith and their belief system. And during Flores de Mayo, the people will place a sculpture really of Mary in a boat. They'll set that boat out and it will be filled with flowers. While this is happening, they will have a rosary prayer up on shore with a mass of people in attendance. Once they are done with prayer, they actually bring the boat back, and that's the real time where they start celebrating. They swim, they party, they feast, and what a way really to celebrate their faith. And this isn't just one and only way that they celebrate their faith. They celebrate it through many traditions and many celebrations throughout the year, like I mentioned. And they really know how to enjoy and practice their faith through those times of celebration. And it's very eventful. And these celebrations ultimately always unite the Filipino people.
And to finally come to our conclusion, just as many other cultures, the Filipino culture is rich in many ways. From their family values to their process of reaching the American dream to provide for their family, the Philippines remain vibrant and resilient and strive through all. The culture reflects a great and complex history of religion that influences their everyday lives through celebrations. With all that said, hope that the people of Philippines continue to thrive through their beautiful culture and that we continue to learn, respect, and value the Filipino people and their culture. Through culture, we all grow more closely together. Thank you. That was not bad. That was not bad. It was pretty good. I thought we did pretty good.